If you're looking for a criminal defense lawyer, you are probably doing some research right now, looking online and making phone calls. So here I want to talk about some things that you can look for to find the right lawyer for you. If you're looking around right now, that means you probably need a criminal attorney. Maybe you got arrested, maybe you got a DUI, or you were arrested for domestic assault and they took you to jail. You just got out of jail, maybe you spent 20 hours or so in the jail, probably not fun. You get out, you bond out, you're gonna have court, you know you need a lawyer, so you're looking around. Or maybe you got like a citation for shoplifting or simple drug possession, you were given a ticket and released, told that when you have a court date, you need to have a lawyer with you, so you're looking around. Maybe you are looking online, checking out lawyers, looking at reviews. That's always good. That's one thing to look for if a lawyer's got reviews, certainly. I mean, if you buy something, if you're going to buy, some kind of product, you want to see reviews of other people who have used it. It's no different with us lawyers. You'd like to see reviews of people who have hired us in the past and have had good experiences or bad experiences. So reviews are always important. And you're making phone calls, right? That would be the next step. You want to talk to that lawyer. You want to call and talk to that lawyer about your case. So what are you looking for when you call or when you meet with your lawyer? I mean, above all, you want somebody who sounds like they know what they're talking about, right? Somebody who knows what you're charged with, who can tell you what you're charged with, and can tell you what might happen. I mean, we can't predict the future, but worst case scenario, what's the maximum punishment on this type of charge? If it's a first offense DUI, your lawyer should be able to tell you, here in Tennessee, here are the statutory penalties on DUI, or Mississippi, here's what you're facing on a first offense DUI. And the worst case scenario is not always going to be what happens. In fact, if you're a first-time offender, you're probably looking at something better than the worst case scenario. But your lawyer should be able to tell you what's the maximum punishment on this. Okay, what could you possibly be facing if convicted? Your lawyer should be able to tell you, should be able to explain to you the elements of the offense. Okay, every crime on the books has what are called elements. That's what makes up that particular crime, and those are the things that the government has to prove against you. They got to prove each one of those elements beyond a reasonable doubt in order to convict you. In a DUI, the elements typically are that you are driving or operating the vehicle, that you're under the influence. They have to prove that. In a domestic assault case, they've got to prove that it wasn't assault, there was a domestic relationship between you and the alleged victim. Those are the things they've got to prove, and your lawyer should be able to explain to you. And then based on the facts, I always ask people, tell me what happened, and we go over it. And based on those facts, early on at least, I can have an idea of what they can and maybe cannot prove. And if there's something they cannot prove, we can talk about that some more and look into it. And based on that, that may determine how your case plays out. I mean, if it turns out that they can't prove, if I'm convinced after talking to you and investigating the case and looking at the evidence, if they can't prove one of those elements, I mean, in theory, yeah, you can have a trial, and sometimes that's required. Realistically, especially on a DUI or a misdemeanor, especially a first offense type case, you're probably not going to go to trial. You could. You can have a jury trial. That's your constitutional right. But usually those kinds of cases work themselves out. The numbers are irrefutable on this in the criminal justice system. But most cases do not go to trial. Like an overwhelming majority do not go to trial. They do settle somehow. But we can use that if there's a weakness in the case. If there's a weakness in the case, use that to get you the best outcome possible. You may be concerned with, more than anything, just keeping it off your record. You made a mistake. I want to fix this. I want to make it go away. How do we do that? There may be options for that. Your lawyer should be able to explain that to you. Again, can't make any promises or predict the future, but what I try and do initially is give clients a roadmap. Start with, what's the worst thing that could happen here? Okay, how likely is that happening? Probably not. So what's a more likely outcome, and how do we get there? Here's our roadmap. Here are some options. You may have to do this or that. You may have to do some probation or take some classes. But here's our roadmap to get where you come out of this like it didn't happen. It stays off your record. So yeah, that's what I try and do initially. That's something I think you should look for in a lawyer, is somebody who, like I said, knows what they're talking about and can give you a general plan of action of how we're going to attack this, how we're going to defend you, and protect your rights and get you the best outcome possible. So I can do this over the phone. I can do it in person. Most people, when they're calling, I know they're calling a bunch of other lawyers in addition to me. My time is important, so is your time. I don't mind phone consultations. If somebody's looking for a lawyer, I'll set aside the time and talk to you on the phone when you call, or I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And then we can meet in my office later on if we want to go further. But over the phone, I can tell you those things. What about cost? How much is this going to cost? That's another thing. You should, your lawyer, your potential lawyer should be able to tell you that, give you an idea of at least of how much it costs. People want to know. Again, we live in a transparent society where information comes quickly. We know how much something's going to cost, and it should be no different with your lawyer. You tell me about your case over the phone. I can tell you probably in 60 seconds how much it's going to cost, or give you some ideas, give you some ballpark estimates. Tell me about your case, and especially where it's going to be, because I practice throughout several different states, and distance and time traveled is a factor. But I can tell you in 60 seconds or so how much it's going to cost, and your lawyer should be able to do that. Should be able to do that over the phone. I think it's important when you're looking for lawyers and you're looking to get as much information as you can. You need to know how much this is going to cost. So hopefully that will help you. Those are the things to look for if you are in need of a criminal attorney. Give me a call.